All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to take a look at its local and city search here combined. See if it's got BSS. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we take declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographers in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that and whatever pinned post, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're falling, we're missing somewhere on this, intent ladder. We're not capturing the amount of people we need to at each intent step or intent level. So we see over on the left, BSS. That's what we talk about here. That's the highest intent people doing, social search, Google search, and then over on the right, the lowest intent people. That's BLCS. That's our other brand, Boudoir Facebook Ad Doctor. That's what we're working with. Boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on their boudoir Facebook ads. But BSS, that's what we care about today. So care about the highest intent people right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, and we're invisible. We're basically dead. And that's because that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past the first page. Just loaded page 1 only. So those 20%ers, we don't care about them. We want to deal with the 80%. 80%ers, the bulk of people. Now, 1 slot on page 1 also is not good for us because we look like everyone else on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers and everyone's got 1 link, then the searcher, the buyer, is simply going to click, literally click and opens everyone's website, contact everyone. We don't stand out at all. Probably won't even remember our name. So boudoir search sameness, boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause is market saturation, which most know about. The second one is the false belief of page 1 equality, which most people do not know about. Now, the market saturation, it's where it seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they throw up their Google My Business profile, and they they say they shoot boudoir, they got their website up, they're competing with us to rank on page 1. Basically, more boudoir photographers over time competing for the same number of buyers, so it makes it harder, more difficult for everyone to compete. So that's consistently pushing people out of page 1 onto page 2, and effectively invisible to 80% of searchers that never even go to page 2. Now the new one here, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. This is new because people have kind of auto-accepted it because there's never really a word to describe this. For people to say, oh, I agree with that or disagree with that or I think it's true or false or whatever. But the false belief of page 1 is equality is basically assuming, getting 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google is the default. It's the norm. Everyone either has 0 slots or 1 slot, and maybe you had 1 slot on Google page 1, but market saturation puts us off to page 2. So all right, we got 0 slots on page 1, we got 1 slot on page 2, and all right, that's how it is. It's how being a boudoir photographer is. But no, actually, we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the work for. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So this kind of page 1 equality assumption or like default belief, default assumption is 100% incorrect, which we'll see in a few more pictures down here. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, if you got 0 slots on page 1, you're definitely disappearing. 1 slot on page 1 probably also disappearing as well because there may be some other people that got 2 slots on page 1, and we're not at 1 slot. We're not saying that at all. We're basically invisible. We're being price shopped against everyone. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine where once someone becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and they don't fight against it, then pretty soon, eventually, the entire business disappears as well. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine of what can happen in the next future in the business. So BSS, luckily we got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology. We invented this, been working on it for about 7 months now. We're liking the results so far, so we're bringing it to market. And to utilize S cubed methodology, remember it's social search saturation, so we saturate search on Facebook search, Instagram search, TikTok search, YouTube search with what our people searching for boudoir photo shoots will be typing in. So we show up there. And once we do that, that actually flows over to Google. So saturating social search actually flows over to Google kind of as a byproduct, giving us multiple links on page one. And again, I went from 0 out of 10 links on page one to 9 out of 10 links on page one for what I wanted to rank for in 10 days. And so the magic about this is the only way someone can use this is if they crash, if they destroy that false belief of page one equality. Because once we use S-cubed methodology, and once you actually see these results I got, we'll realize, oh, that belief was actually false. Page one equality is not the norm. Google actually will give us as many links as we want to put in the effort to acquire, as many page one links. And so the second magical thing about S-cubed methodologies is it's the only thing I've seen that actually fights back against market saturation. So imagine if there's, we're a boudoir photographer in LA, and there's a total of 1 million boudoir photographers in LA. Everyone's got their own website. So everyone's, fiercely competing to be page one on Google. But imagine we take the S-cubed methodology to the extreme where we rank so hard for the highest intent keywords for people searching for boudoir photo shoots. And, we absolutely crush social search saturation, where literally like the first 300 slots of any and every search related to boudoir is us. So it's around all the social platforms that flows over to Google, and let's say the first 300 organic results on Google are only us as well, because we took S-cubed methodology to the max. So the fact that there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers actually doesn't matter to us, because for the first 300 slots, anywhere somebody looks for a boudoir photo shoot in LA, we're the only ones there. They got to go down to slot like 301, and Google is 10 organic slots per page, so I got to go to page like 31 to find another boudoir photographer. So whose business is still doing great? Ours, even though there's literally 999,999 other boudoir photographer competitors. So this is one of the special things about S-cubed methodology. It's the only thing I've seen that actually, builds momentum and helps us compete against market saturation. That can happen relatively quickly. The only other second thing would be brand. People doing branded searching for our brand specifically, but that takes years. So this is something that happens way faster than years to build a brand. And now once treated with S-cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we're actually seen on page one, even though, we may have had one slot on page one, we're still kind of invisible. But with page one visibility, we got 2. Well, we go for the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for local search and city search. But the added bonus is every new slot we take up on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible, because approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They stay on page 1. And as a result, kind of as we take 4 out of 10 slots, 5 out of 10 slots, 6 out of 10 slots, people searching for at least the 80%, the big chunk we're going for, they can only price shop us or compare us against 2, 3, 4 boudoir photographers instead of against 9, because they ain't going to page 2 anyways. And so this is one of the other bonuses. It's actually kicks our competitors out of basically being found. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, because we're no longer at a 0 or 1. We're no longer at 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and boudoir search for so we're actually standing out. Well, 0, 1, and we won't get to 3 because there may actually be someone else that has 2. I mean, 1's most common, 2's kind of rare, but if we got 3 out of 10, we're ultra rare. And we're definitely standing out against people that have 1 slot each, and still standing out against people that got 2 slots. It's probably only one other person. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. And this is our universe theory: disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Once we accept page one equality is false, now we know, okay, now we can tackle it, we can solve it. The only thing I know of that can solve it is S-cubed methodology. It actually solves, the only thing I know that can solve both false belief of page one equality and market saturation. We achieve page one visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so these are my results actually doing, so ranking for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So that's what I wanted to rank for. So we got the AI overview, got the Google Map Pack. Now looking at organic. So I got organic slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I got 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google. And this was after I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And kicked everyone else off page 1. I took it over. And this is showing the power of the S-cubed methodology, where Google wants to give these page 1 slots to the people that want the page 1 slots the most, and to be relevant to the user search. So these slots are always up for grabs for everyone that wants them. So now onto the main event. We're going to see for this boudoir photography business, for its local and city search combined here, seeing if it actually reaches, see if it's got BSS, see if it's in the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. Let's check it out. So we're going to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. All right, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Let's go to the organics. Boom, got an organic one. Well, Google's stuck thinking there. Oh, data's off. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. Yeah, we'll count that one, Chamber of Commerce. Boom, we got 3. All right, so we got 3 out of 10. Nice, very good. So for local and city search combined here, we got we do not have BSS, and we hit the GBC recommend minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. So all is looking perfect. So if you're a boudoir photographer, a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means you've done local search for the highest intent keywords in your local area for that boudoir buyers will be searching, and you've done the highest intent keywords for your city or close to city for highest intent keywords boudoir buyers will be buying, and you either have BSS for one or both, boudoir search sameness, or you do not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google for either one or both. And you're seeing, you're liking the initial benefits of S-cubed methodology. You decide this is the one path, the one solution forward for you. If you want more slots page 1 on Google, and you definitely want to catch your competitors page 1 on Google, kick them to page 2, where now we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even make it to page 2. So the bulk of the market will never even find your competitors through organic search. And, you want to use S-cubed methodology because now you understand that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots as possible to those who want to put in the effort to take them. And now we realize we got a methodology, a solution to take them with S-cubed methodology. And you understand the market saturation, new phone, new gear, bringing new boudoir photographers in. But you also are looking ahead, and you're seeing that, hey, you actually need to fortify your business, and you decide you're going to fortify your business against the future boudoir photographers that come in, not only from the new iPhone and the new camera, but also the much larger share. The larger share is actually going to be more people losing their jobs to AI, and they still got to earn money, they still got to pay their expenses, and everyone's got a great camera attached to their iPhone already. So there's going to be way more boudoir photographers coming into the market because of AI, and you actually want to give yourself, fortification in preparation of those boudoir photographers coming into the market, kind of like the levees in New Orleans. They build up the sandbag levees because New Orleans is actually below sea level. So you actually want to build up that fortification in preparation for the future boudoir photographers entering the market, which is going to be more and more over time. So you decide already decided you're going to prepare for that, and you realized, hey, paying for Facebook ads ain't doing that. That's on Facebook. Paying for Google ads ain't doing that because that's only one slot on Google. The only option that gives you multiple slots um, is SQ'd methodology for boudoir photographers. And so you realize you need the solution. You want the initial benefits. You want the, pre-fortification benefits because you need to achieve page one visibility to become a visible boudoir photographer and have boudoir search visibility because you need those things in order to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you also like the back-end benefits as well, which we've not talked about yet, but you actually understand already, which is every day we execute SQ'd methodology correctly, we are actually increasing and building up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our business, or spokes, hub and spoke. It's attached into our business name, our brand name, our social accounts. And what this is doing, this is building up massive momentum and mind share in the back end of these AI systems. So every day we successfully execute SQ's methodology together, we're actually increasing the probability you get recommended here, AI overview, premium placement, the one top slot for a search in your city for a boudoir photographer, as well as increasing the probability that regular AI searches actually give you, actually feature you as well, as be ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Standard Google search still about 90% of searches globally, but dude, AI search growing every day. I haven't done normal Google search probably in like a year to actually like read and learn stuff from a website. I just do the AI mode on Google. And last time I searched for a boudoir photographer was in I remember it gave me three options, but I actually went on my own and looked like Google standard search, and there were about 60 options. So, dude, AI search can be more and more. SQ'd methodology gives us higher chances of showing up AI overview at the top and all AI search. And you also recognize the final kind of extra benefit of using SQ'd methodology since you've decided to be the first mover in your city, you can make all this progress, build up all these initial benefits and the momentum for the future benefits, kind of the invisible AI mindshare for your business ahead of all your competitors, because right now my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city on this. And so as a result, you actually, every day we successfully execute SQ'd methodology together. We are building up, got initial benefits initially happening very fast, and kind of the long-term benefits, the invisible benefits for AI overview recommendation, AI search recommendation. Every day we're putting a bigger and bigger gap between your current competitors and the future competitors coming from AI stealing people's jobs and people becoming boudoir photographers because they need to earn money. We're building up this momentum where basically no one, when we execute on this, no one's going to be able to catch up to us. Because conversely, if someone else in your city went with me first, you would have to rederive or derive for the first time the correct way to do S-cubed methodology, and you would never actually be confident you've derived the correct way to do it. Never be 100% confident, and then you'd have to go equal our execution with me and your competitor. But we've already been doing it long before you, so we've already built up a massive gap between them and you with all the initial benefits and the future benefits, momentum with AI mindshare. So you'd have to then execute the same amount of us every day. And then if you did that, you'd simply maintain the gap that me and your competitor have already made of us being ahead of you. So you'd have to actually double or triple our execution to pull that AI mindshare, those invisible thematic keyword columns away from the competitor's brand, competitor's name in your same city for the AI mindshare in the back end. Pull that back towards yourself. And like, dude, who's got time for that? I mean, how are you gonna outcompete the person that invented SQ methodology, me? So you decided through that. You decided, okay, you're gonna be the first mover because you want to be the number one boudoir photographer in your city. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open. The hospital is not currently open for new patients. When I do open up for new patients, I watch these videos. I'll put out a notice, and yeah, shoot a DM then, and we'll see if you qualify for using S cubed methodology.